Man, I'm terrible at holding my breath.
Hold that breath.
It's like the need to actually hold my breath makes it worse. Versus like, I'm just going to hold my breath for a little bit.
Can you hold your breath underwater?
Yeah, probably.
You ever tried?
Yeah. When I was like 12 and I had a pool in my parents' backyard.
When was the last time you swam?
Dude, I love swimming so much. I think it's probably been like 2 or 3 years since I've actually swam last. We used to have we were a little bougie. We used to have a boat back when we were living in Houston. We boated around in that disgusting lake. I was on a swim team, which I hated because I got sunburned all the time. I'm a pasty.
Really? I was. I timed for the swim team for a little bit.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Just a little, man.
Yeah, because I
love split second cod reaction.
The teacher, the guy that did it, he was my favorite teacher of all time. He's like, hey, we need some more people. I'm like, hey, I'll do it.
Damn.
More time.
You never actually were a swimmer though, were you?
No, I wasn't.
Damn. Okay. But yeah, dude. My parents made me do every sport, which is very ironic. That's how I found out I don't like sports, is by doing all of them.
Well, that's also a good way to hate sports, is by being forced to by your family.
Yeah, but if you grow up as a boy and your dad is fairly traditional, he's going to want to make you do some sports. And then very quickly he accepted it and let me do whatever. Yeah, no, it's fine.
I played soccer and baseball.
You could not get me out of the pool if you put me in the pool for a while. Until it got to that point where it just is cold and your body is dying because you're shivering and you're like, I got to get out of here. But if I had an element in video games, it would probably be either water, because I love water so much, or just because I like electricity and lightning and everything. Then that would be it.
That's a bad combo, though. Electricity and water?
Not if you're using it on your enemies to kill them. You just got to not self-destruct.
Yeah.
It's fine. In Genshin Impact, it's a pretty good reaction, especially in the current high-level content that exists.
Okay.
I must admit. But not a good combo, man.
Genshin Impact walkthrough or something.
No. Okay, let's take a step back. If you had elements for you in something, and we just had elemental powers, what would yours be?
I feel like I'm an earth kind of guy.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what? I kind of agree.
Or air,
I kind of agree with
air. Both are kind of chill-ish elements.
Well, the reason I say I kind of agree mostly with earth is because you're very structured and mostly by the book. Yeah. So that's why. But air also maybe because that I don't know. There's this thing I read which equated the characteristics of elements to certain types of people. Like air and water you think might be kind of the same because they both kind of change and they have tides and they flow. But air is more erratic, but water has more structure, even if it can change the flow. Fire is the most changeable, and earth is straight. You can't. Even tectonic plates can't even move stuff that much. It takes ages.
I could also be metal. Because I just like banging my goddamn head,
Yeah. He's been trying every time we start this podcast to make his hair just stick in his face, and he always forgets about it. See, there he goes. He's doing it now.
Get it cut
Audio
soon.
listeners are like, what? Yeah? Have you not been doing haircuts because of the pandemic?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of in that weird space where I'd love to try to grow out my hair, get a long hairdo going. But it's just, A, it takes so long. B, it looks gross in the interim. And C, I want to cut my hair. So it gets in my face. It starts bothering me. It's frustrating. I don't know how people with long hair do it.
I've never had actual long hair, but that statement about there being a phase where no hairstyle looks good. It's this length.
Yep.
And it's tough to do unless you have the perfect hairstyle. I don't know, man. I can't do it. I need a haircut very soon, but also moving soon. And I prefer the person that has been cutting my hair for since I was in middle school. I've gotten my haircut by the same person.
Wow.
Isn't that insane? That's commitment. Somebody says I'm bad at commitment. Not me. No, I'm very committed. I'm also committed to the thing that we do here because we release an episode. We haven't missed one in forever.
That's actually true. We've been pretty on point. I don't think we missed one in 2021 yet.
It's the year of the crawl, man.
The year of the dungeon.
Year of the dungeon?
Yeah.
I guess that's what it is.
Because if you're not listening to this other podcast that we just started up recently, then you're missing out, man. It's this live play podcast where we go through Dungeons and Dragons 5th editions. Braxton over there, he is the DM. I'm a player. We also have 2 other wonderful players, and it's a badass time. If you don't know what I'm talking about, type in the Dungeon Chronicles to any place. You can find anything.
Absolutely. The first 3 episodes were, I don't want to say scuffed, but we were hodgepodging as much we could together
First two.
With first two?
Yeah.
So the third episode.
Third and fourth
gotcha.
one. I mean, it's still not great, but it definitely sounds better.
Yeah, but we're excited. Whenever the fifth episode comes out, it's going to be all digital and the mic's going to be a lot better. Anyways, he's Ryan.
He's Braxton.
Look at my exposure. It's terrible. This is... it's like that David people. That painted this one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is also on a bunch of other things. This is the Dungeon Crawl.
This is.
Today, we're talking about something that is my favorite thing always. Less so lately because there haven't been as much fun content coming out. Doesn't mean the stuff that they're adding here is any less important. Unearthed Arcana. Woo! Yeah.
Woo!
See, we're at the point now. I feel like we've gained a little bit of fame, if you think about it, because now we have people that tell us when Unearthed Arcana comes out.
That's true. They know my pain with Unearthed Arcana.
We have insiders.
There was a time for newer listeners. There was a time where we just did Unearthed Arcana back to back to back because they just kept pumping this crap out, man.
I remember I was walking home from going grocery shopping at Target, and I get a text from you. I don't remember what it was, but you were like, "Guess what?" Or like, "You'll never guess what happened." I'm like, "Wait, what?" Or you said Jeremy Crawford just tweeted something.
Yep. Yeah.
And it turned out to be another Unearthed Arcana, but I thought the world had exploded. The D&D world had exploded. Turns out that wasn't the case. To Ryan, it was.
Now we know, though, if there's a bunch of Unearthed Arcanas coming out left and right, then we know there's probably a Tasha's or like a player's handbook kind of 2.0 on the way, because there was a bunch of those, and then Tasha's dropped, and most of those were in there
for a while. But now I would say we're kind of getting up to that again, especially now, and they're targeting it. The last two have been similar, not thematically. Really, but they've been similar in what they're trying to do. And for me, honestly, it's either what we're doing now. They added more races. It's Feywild theme, folk of the Feywild. Okay. So the previous one was Gothic lineages.
Yeah, that already has a home, though.
It does already have a home. This one, they're going to release some sort of setting that buffs out the Feywild, I guess.
I know what they're releasing. You want me to tell you? You want me to leak this info to the world first? You heard it here first, guys. The Dungeon Crawl.
I haven't heard this yet.
Manual of the Plains. I'm telling you. What do you mean?
Know, man.
This is Feywild.
That's too much content in one book. If they're going to release stuff on the the Plains, they're going to milk it. They're going to release one on the Feywild. They're going to release one.
Every edition in the past has had a big old Manual of the Plains.
The 5th edition changes stuff, man. They go against the grain. To go against the grain. For the sake of going against the grain.
Edition sucks.
Does it suck?
No.
I think it's
pretty good.
No, okay. I was talking with Kenneth, who's been on the podcast and is in the live play before this, and I was getting all my saltiness out. I was getting all of my frustrations out so that I can be more objective.
What's your frustrations? I want to hear those.
My frustrations in regards to this,
which is four new races.
4 new races, yes. And even just saying 4 new races is even controversial because previously there were lineages. And they explicitly said that I don't know if they explicitly said it, but they were trying to get away from giving us races to play so that we can adjust them and tune them to how we want. Because living creatures can be in any way, shape, or form, no matter how trenched they are in whatever culture they come from. You know, that's the idea they're trying to approach and make more, standard to say. So this is the stem of my frustration. Okay. For me, I want to know, and I don't necessarily need to know, but I hope this isn't just a money grabbing. We're going to go with, trying to have more inclusion, because otherwise we get caught under a dumpster fire, which maybe it's well deserved because you shouldn't be racist in your games. Really. I've got a different viewpoint. Like if there's a reason and it's world building, sure, it's not okay, but it shouldn't be
for the sake of being,
for the sake of doing it. Yeah. But I also like this. So my frustration goes away when I realize I like min-maxing, okay? I want to have the character that I want to play. I want to make a character that I love visually in every aspect. And what they're doing now allows me to do that because I don't if I want to be the best damn whatever Y class, X class, I don't know, sorcerer maybe, I don't have to play an elf to be the most powerful version of it,
Yes.
I don't like that. Some people do. Kenneth likes it not because it's excluding things and saying a race is a certain way, but he likes the restrictions because he likes having systems and trying to figure out how to do things well within them.
Yeah, so those are the kind of two viewpoints. The restrictions and just because it made interesting characters and interesting kind of role play decisions. Of course, you have the min-maxer stuff that, okay, if I want to have the best wizard, I have to choose this class or this race. But you also had people like me or like other people that prefer just the role-playing aspect, and they will choose a off-color or off, a different kind of race. It's not particularly built for that. But like a dwarf mage, you don't see many dwarven mages.
Yes.
It's kind of, kind of fun, kind of interesting. So it was cool for that aspect, at least personally.
True. So I think it's the general thought of, do we want people who make these RPGs to force that on us and it has to be there? Or do they want to give us the choice of doing that? Because that sort of playstyle where you make a flawed character can still be done if they don't put races with ability scores, if they don't force them into an archetype, So that's the whole argument that I'm trying to understand and internalize. And more representation and less restriction is never necessarily a bad thing.
Less stereotypes, that type of stuff.
Yeah. But we play D&D so that we can have this structure. Otherwise, it's just everybody improving. And there is no rule. That's how 5th edition kind of feels. So I don't know if Ryan has a thought on that, but closing that off and actually getting into the Feywild, and then we can pick that conversation up again. Not even
before we get into the Feywild, it opens with stuff you're talking about. They're changing, and this started with the Gothic lineages. They don't want to assign ability scores to races, as Braxton was kind of talking about, and they're sticking with that. While they're still having races, they're not having the lineages portion. So you can now specifically choose, which ability score you want to increase, what this race, what you're good at, what your character has good at. If let's say you've been working as a lumberjack with your father for your whole life, and you choose, a halfling, you decide to up your strength, which normally your strength would not get upped by choosing a halfling. So this allows for that. They have quick build options as well, so you can follow them all along for your class or not. And then it goes into the languages, which lets you kind of pick and choose. Because if you're an elf, but you didn't spend time around elves,
that one makes the most sense to me.
You don't know Elvish. Yeah.
Because you can grow up fucking anywhere and speak any language.
Yes.
Which extends to a lot of these other things. But something I do want to point out about the ability and score increases. This first showed its head officially, at least to my knowledge. There could be in other editions, but within 5th edition, the variant human, where you could change and alter where your stats were.
Yes.
And they gave you a different form. So I think that was the first time they started to do this, and it was maybe the most important because humans are humans. And
so the regular human just gets like a +1 to everything, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Because they're average to basic, but the variant human lets you specialize. With the Gothic lineages, this creating your character section and choosing your ability score increases. It mentioned when you determine your ability scores, increase one of those scores by 2 and increase a different one by 1.
Yeah.
That's it. This one is now increase one of those scores by 2 and a different score by 1, or 3 different scores by 1. So they've added something. And this is already in Tasha's. So they're changing it already. So I don't know if different books are going to technically allow you to do your ability score increases differently. If only these Fey folk have the option to do 3 different stats.
You'll probably get to pick. Because let's say if you just have the player's handbook, or you're in your party, one of your friends has the player's handbook, one of your friends has the most recent edition of something, one guy's going to follow the player's handbook rules where their race comes with a ability score, and the other guy is going to be doing his own thing. So I don't know if that makes it confusing for people trying to get into the game, saying, hey, how come Jessica over there is upgrading her stuff when mine is just... I came with this. I could feel people being confused on that.
Yeah, in my mind, they're failing on the accessibility thing. They just need to release a rule somewhere online, anywhere officially, and says Jeremy Crawford says this. And it's this thing right here. When determining, you can do a score by 2 and 1 or 3 by 1. And that needs to be the universal rule.
The other problem with that is the only way you can fix what they've now kind of caused is to make a 0.5 edition or a whole new edition, because there's no way that tweet would get out to everybody playing D&D.
Yeah, and the general process of somebody getting into D&D is now is, of course, most likely they get the player's handbook, they read this stuff, they get used to it, and they start investigating. And they're like, well, there's this, what's going on? And they don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
And they've been trying to combat that. They have not done very well. and from my point of view, and this is like exhibit A, B, C, and D, that Gothic lineages and Feywild both have different. Then this is Unearthed Arcana. It's unreleased. But
I mean, I guess we'll see what the Gothic lineages comes packed with in the Ravenloft book, because that will have that in there. I wonder if we'll have a new ability score thing in there as well now.
Yep, because they're already printing those, or they're already printed and ready to shipped out. There's no changes that they can make. So the fact that this Feyfolk thing already has a different ability score increase is confusing to me. Maybe this is already what the one in the whatever that book that's coming out is with the Gothic lineages. Maybe that's this maybe this is already the ability score thing that they've got in there. I don't know, but I'm just so confused as to why they changed it. Okay. To me, that's the biggest thing to talk about, is this ability score increase thing. That's the most controversial, because players like Kenneth want to have those flawed characters and want to have this restriction because it's fun. Some people don't, because they don't want to stereotype, you know? Moving forward, we did mention the languages thing. You can pick whatever you want. They've removed that as well. These are basically races, characters, types of peoples that have no ability score, but they do have cool features, traits, and abilities. That's all that comes with these. So that's how it's starting to change. So Ryan, what do we have here? What is included in this thing?
Well, the last thing that I want to touch on is, because this will be important for what we're about to get into, is the majority of races that you can be in D&D are all the humanoid type, because we're, variants of humans, I guess. Mm-hmm. I think the only different, actually, now I think even the ones in Volos, I think the majority of those are also humanoids. It's, maybe all of them are. It's now that we come to the Gothic lineages introduced this, and now this continues that, and to me is the most impactful one, because this is stuff from the Feywild. The races now have a specific creature type attached to it, so it's like the aberration, the monstrosity, ooze, plant, undead, etc.
Makes me think of Magic the Gathering with card types.
Kind of, yeah. I can have multiple ones of these, so I think they're all like they're probably all going to be humanoid. Yes, as most player characters are the humanoid type, but there are some that can have little variants in here. And you might think that's not a big deal, but there's some spells that only work on certain types of creatures, or a spell like Cure Wounds is very different for a creature that's like a construct or something along those lines. So
Or undead,
yeah.
So you don't know how that shit works.
Yeah.
But moving forward, the first thing that shows up that comes in here after they give their designing note, creating your character, etc. Moving to the fairies, the first one that shows up. You're like, cute, right? Yeah, so these little pixies, I would liken them more so to like the Grimm fairy tale sort of fairies, especially the Feywild, which is crazy and not mystical, happy-go-lucky. But these are fairies. They can be tricksters. They can be kind. They can be whatever you want. So again, don't pigeonhole yourself.
It's actually kind of funny that my girlfriend's getting D&D for the first time, and she is making her characters and stuff. And her DM actually was kind of like homebrewing races, and she actually started homebrewing a fairy. And I was like, hey, and I sent her this.
Just use this?
Yeah, I sent her this. Like, hey, I don't need to. You can.
Is she gonna use this?
I think she's gonna try to. Yeah, and cool. She can see how it goes.
So fairies, you can have different characteristics or whatever if you want. I still don't know why they're including the D8 characteristics things. Roll for whatever you want. Is it just to help you?
Yeah, just probably give you ideas, because they have this for a lot of different things. This is the only race in here that has it, but they've had it for classes get these. I think the lineages had them as well, just to give people ideas and get them thinking. Because I think a lot of people see fairy and just think of Tinkerbell or something. So this gives you places to kind of jump off from.
Yeah. Well, the thing for me is ability scores are like that to me. And it's like, what parts of these are you going to include that don't qualify for the borderline racist stuff, and what does? Like, it's just so giving. Oh man, I want to understand what they want to include, what they don't want to include, because some of these could be racist to some people. I don't think they will, but it's just weird. What do you want us to roll? What D&D? What do you want to give us to actually create a character, and what are you wanting to remove? And I think that's what they're trying to figure out.
I like one of them says you smell like fresh brownies.
It's pretty good.
But
that could be dangerous.
That fairy.
Exactly. Yeah. What if you go into some sort of witch's domain or something, a hag, and she's like Hansel and Gretel level, and she wants to turn things into treats and eat them? You're screwed. She's going to sniff you right out, and you are getting in her cauldron. Yeah, they get
eaten.
I thought
she just wanted to cook them because she just hated people, wanted to eat people. Does she turn them into like food and candy?
I don't know. I know she cooks the boy. Maybe.
Spoilers.
It's been a while since I've read that. Been a good while. But outside of those characteristics and giving you some sort of direction on where to go, you come into the traits, the cool things.
I want to point out before we get ahead of ourselves, I meant to mention this earlier. It's my fault. That this was written by Tamor Remen.
Who?
I messed that up.
Oops.
Ari Levitch and Jeremy Crawford. It also says with input from the rest of the D&D design team. So this doesn't have Mike Merles involved with it.
What's the significance of that? Those people?
I don't know. I'm looking. So Tamor has done game designing for Wizards for a while, 3 years, I want to say. So I'm sure his hand has been in a lot of that stuff. I know he's working on Candlekeep Mysteries. And Ari, let's see what Ari's up to. They're a narrative designer, so maybe their job with this stuff is kind of like people come, like Jeremy and Tamor come up with the idea, like the mechanics, and then they take that. So much like how Wizard of the Coast works for Magic. Someone will come with the mechanics of the card, and then they send it to the other part of the team, and they come up with what the card looks like and the title and name of the stuff. And he's been there for a little bit as well. He's been there for 8 years. He worked with Magic from 2013 to 2017, and only in the last 3 years he's been on a narrative design team at D&D.
You know what they should do that could help them out a bit right now, and it's easy for somebody like me who works in like hiring freelancers and whatnot, and someone like you who knows more about the industry to be able to visualize what their creative process could look like. But they should definitely do like a ViDoc, a video documentary about them creating Unearthed Arcanas and creating books and stuff.
Well, they have
giving that insight.
They have the D&D Twitch where they have Dragon Talk. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but they have a podcast-like format where Jeremy Crawford's been on there a lot. They've had Chris Perkins on there a lot. Both these guys are very well known in the Wizard of the Coast design team. Right. And they get in there and talk about the design choices. That's where our last episode, talking about Ravenloft, that's where I got a lot of my information on the book, because they did a whole stream and video talking about all the stuff that they're working on that's going to be going into this book. So they kind of do it through that. It would be cool to see more of the background stuff, the behind the scenes, and the different people that are working on it, because we only really know, a couple names. We're like, with those other two people there, I'd never heard of them before. So it'd be cool to see, kind of more names to faces.
Yeah. Yeah, I always love seeing that kind of stuff. It can end up being controversial and kick yourself in the booty, but in general, I think it's a good thing.
Especially a lot of these people don't like being on the camera.
Yeah, so I don't need to see your face. Just give me your voice. Just toss it on Spotify and let me listen to it. But I didn't know they have that, so I'll probably go check it out sooner rather than later. Something that we're also going to be checking out soon rather than later is the fairy traits.
Okay.
Jump into it. So you have the following racial traits. Creature type. This is a new syntax they're doing. You are a Fey rather than your creature type is Fey.
Makes sense.
Size. You are small rather than small.
Weird note. I would think this would be tiny, but tiny is very hard of a creature's size to deal with. So that's probably
chose this intentionally. But I think it could be pretty fun too. Make some interesting interactions if fairies aren't typical in your world. You've got a party running around, like you see Guts with, little whatever that guy's name is that runs around with him. Like that's such cool little imagery there. You also have a 30 walking speed, which if you're fairy,
think small, you're the size of a halfling with this. That's like 3 feet.
Wait, what?
Yeah, halflings are small.
That's huge.
I know, that's what I'm saying. These guys are big.
Hey man, maybe they're just breaking the standard here. Fairies can be of smaller size. They should give tiny an option here. At least.
But like I said, tiny is hard to deal with. It kind of is. And we'll get to one of the other traits. It's kind of like a tiny trait. So,
yeah, because tiny does come with advantages too, as well. So you have a walking speed of 30, but you also have fairy flight, which gives you a flying speed equal to your walking speed and can hover. So that, like, in a game of D&D, in a tactical game where it's turn-based and movement can kind of be important, just being able to fly, that's pretty great.
Flying is hard for a DM to master and understand. And
that's kind of why I took it off of my character, because it was broken sometimes.
But I mean, giving it to a player at first level
It's what is it? A second level spell? Fly?
I want to say, yeah.
Yeah, could be a third. I'm gonna stick with second.
Stick to your guns.
Hopefully, I'm right. Stick to my guts. I've been wrong before, but this is cool. I like that. And then you've got Fairy Magic, which gives you Druidcraft. You know them, Druidcraft and Fairy Fire. You can also cast Fairy Fire without expending a spell slot. The cooldown is per long rest until you can cast it again.
Fairy Fire is
you
nice.
can also cast them as a spell slot if you want to. So it's not gone if you use it, but you do need to use other resources.
Fairy Fire is a very underutilized spell.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's great. The only time that we've had it before is whenever we had a bard in our campaign. You were still DMing. Anytime they use Fairy Fire, I was like, stuff just got a little bit easier.
Yeah, advantage on like every attack. I mean, this is amazing. Things can't go invisible. Beautiful.
Yeah. And I love that they're being brave enough to give such a useful spell to somebody because it makes sense that a fairy is going to have Fairy Fire, you know? That's awesome.
Yeah, I'd be pissed if I was a fairy and I did not have a spell with literally basically my name in it.
Looking at the spell table, not seeing Fairy Fire? Question mark. Something you do see, though, is Fey Passage, which Ryan alluded to a moment ago. You can squeeze through a space as narrow as 1 inch wide. Now, you're the size of a halfling.
Yes. So I guess
how the heck does this look?
You can slink down and slide through stuff.
I'm just imagining like cartoon level. You've been hit with like a 1-ton weight, like an Acme weight, and you're pancake and you go and slide through. This would be like an eldritch horror, seeing somebody crunch their body and just
like Harry Potter, the bus slowly shrinking and like sliding through something. So
I want I love this ability, but I want them to write like a little bit of flavor as to how it happens, or like a guideline as to how it could happen, what it looks like, because my mind is going wild with this. Feywild, as you could say. Oh, don't laugh at that.
I don't understand how this fairy thing doesn't have, I mean, literally in the creature type, it says you are a Fey. Mm-hmm. How does the fairy not have Fey ancestry?
What do you mean?
The trait, they aren't Fey ancestry.
What trait is that? Tell me for the dumb people.
I'd be happy to tell you. Elves have it, and one of the other races in this list has it too. But it means you have advantage on saving throws you can make to avoid or end the charm condition upon yourself.
Yeah, fairies would definitely have that.
Also meaning if you travel in and out of the Feywild, you don't have the memory effects.
Interesting choice. You know, maybe there was a lore reason for that. Maybe they just took it out because it seemed too powerful.
I think why they didn't get it, and Kenneth and I briefly talked about this the other night. I think it's because we both think it's because this is already a very strong race.
Yes.
So they're like, if we give this Fey ancestry as well, we're just tossing things upon this thing. So,
well, let me ask then, because they're adding creature types. Do creature types have abilities? This creature is a Fey? In all Fey world, negate that?
I'd say all Fey. Everything from the Feywild has advantage, or at least doesn't have the effects of the Feywild upon leaving it.
So my guess is that they don't have it on here because creature type Fey negates those. That's why Fey ancestry
but it doesn't.
Is a trait. It doesn't?
It does in my world, but Fey creatures, by rules as written, do not have Fey ancestry.
Okay.
Like the satyr has magical resistance, but doesn't have Fey ancestry.
That's weird. That's very weird.
Elves have it. It's strange.
That doesn't make sense, though.
Half elves even have it, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, it's like, where do they get that for? What are they an ancestor of that has that resistance?
It's an interesting note. In 3.5 edition and 3rd edition, all Fey could not be charmed, period. Could not be put to sleep, period.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not that crazy of an ability. Sorry, I just cut myself out there. It's not that crazy. I don't know, man. Do we move forward? Do we go to the next one?
Yeah, it's just a weird design decision, especially because the next one, I'm going to spoil it now, everybody, the Hobgoblin, which, even more of a spoiler, creature type, humanoid, has Fey ancestry. You're kidding me. You're killing me, Wizard of the Coast. It doesn't make any sense. Though elves and half-elves are humanoids, I'm curious if they were to redo all of the old races from Player's Handbook and give them creature types, are they all still humanoids?
I don't know, man. I'm confused here.
Like, would they make
I'm sure it wasn't an oversight. Devils?
No, fiends? Is that what they called?
Fiends. Yes.
Would they make them fiends?
I think they are. I think they're classified as fiends.
No, they're all humanoids, I'm pretty sure.
They don't have it anywhere?
I don't think so. I could be wrong.
I feel like fiend is written somewhere. I'm going on D&D Beyond. I feel like it's written somewhere.
Yeah, check on D&D Beyond.
So within Tiefling names, the section there, it mentions that names that reflect their fiendish heritage. So far, I'm not seeing anything else.
They have to be humanoids because creature types for races don't exist in the player's handbook.
Yeah, there's nothing. And fiend is only mentioned that one time in the thing there itself. Carrion's literally the second name there. Good creative choices there, right?
Page 11, I found it here. Page 11 of the player's handbook says all player races are humanoid. I guess in the errata section now for the player's handbook, that's probably has a big X over it because that no longer is the case.
Yeah. So we're seeing, hey man, I was talking about wanting to see the process. That's what Unearthed Arcana is, peeling back the curtain. The blacksmith is forming that metal.
We are literally seeing like a 5.5 edition try to get made, but they're just fighting tooth and nail to not get it. And it's just, things are contradicting each other. It's weird.
That's my frustration with this. I don't know what's going on at all. There's got to be something, because we've mentioned this before, the length of life that each edition has had. Do you have that off the top of your head? Just at least with 4th edition?
This is by far the longest. So that's what I know off the top of my head.
So it's overdue.
Yeah.
But the reasoning is they've gotten a lot of new people and they don't want to just say, hey, you just came in, here's, a new video game to drop $60 on, basically. They don't want to do that. But they're essentially doing that with these books, though it's disguised as extra content, so it's okay. But God forbid if they release a new edition, it would be a terrible business choice for them. It would get attention, but people would be like, what are you doing? What's going on? Oh, man. I'm excited. Don't think that this is extreme frustration. It's excitement for D&D changing and things being talked about and thought on.
I'm excited, just confused, I'll say. Yeah, so
I'm
the OG...
not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, there you go. The OG Dungeons & Dragons. Okay, I may have spoken ahead of myself. We're not going to count the OG Dungeons & Dragons for edition stuff, because that didn't change much during its time. Second edition was also about 2 years, okay? 10 years. 10 years. And then when we get to the 3rd edition, that's when it starts kind of slowing down a little bit. We have 2000 to about 2007, okay? So that's that. 4th edition is, I'd say, closer to 2008, though a couple things came in 2007. 2008, all the way till, where is it here? All the way till, wait, doesn't make any sense. Yeah, okay, yeah. 2008.
There's a glitch in the timeline.
I'm sorry. No. I saw something wrong. 2008 to 2013.
Okay.
So we're getting close to the 10-year mark, which would then be longer than 2nd edition.
Man, that's a long time.
1st edition was like 20 some odd years, but
yeah, I didn't think it'd catch on. Wow.
So
that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, but keep in mind, during those times for the previous editions, like there was a 3.5 edition, and we also had, Player's Handbook 2, Player's Handbook 3. Those, like, they actually had full-on new editions of the Player's Handbook, where I'm sure they added stuff. A lot of those were just additions. I don't know if they tweaked stuff from before. I haven't analyzed them, but it's interesting.
A big thing that I think this discounts a 5.5 E or whatever they do is, and this is something they'd likely consider, they're adding so much there. And we said this as well. You can't put this all in another Player's Handbook, even if it's 600 pages. Yeah. You just can't. I mean, you could mention there are these creature types that you can be, but there's a lot of stuff in here, man. So I'd be interested to see how they would broach it, how they would do it. There's that word of the week from a few episodes ago. Broach. That was a good, fun one.
It's a good word.
Are you ready for the Hobgoblin?
I'm ready for the Hobgoblin.
Do you want me to do it or you do it? I just did the last one.
Yeah, I'll dive into it. So Hobgoblin is a monster in the monster manual. It's usually found around goblins. They're usually some of the bugbears for the de facto leaders. De facto leaders of the goblin groups, because they're bigger than the goblins.
Why is the name that way?
What do you mean?
Bugbears.
I don't know.
Tangent. I'm sorry, but I've never understood.
Kind of looks like a bear. No bugs involved, though.
I love the name. Love it. I just want to know why.
I kind of wish it was like a mixture of a bug and a bear. That'd be kind of cool.
It's like whenever Pokemon takes a big left turn for the final evolution of something, you've got Goblin, I choose you. What? Goblin's evolving into a dun 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 dun, 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 Hobgoblin. Wow. And then the final one is Bugbear.
Bugbear.
What? Huh? Okay. Let's continue.
Yeah, so these guys are humanoid, as we said. They are medium in size, and they can walk 30 feet. They have good old-fashioned 60 feet of dark vision. They have Fey ancestry for God knows what reason. And I actually did not know this, that they do trace their origins to the Feywild, but more you know.
That's interesting.
They get the Fey gift. So this is basically their cool feature. The other ones had the flying and sneaking into stuff. This one is you can use this trait to take the help action as a bonus action. You can do so a number of times equal to proficiency, yada yada. This is very cute and cheeky because the monster,
cheeky breaky,
the hobgoblin, can do something somewhat similar to this. So
I was confused as to this at first with the help action and whatnot, but Kenneth told me that it's because hobgoblins are very about the group.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the hobgoblin monster can do some things somewhat similar to this. And then at third level, you can do different things every time you take the help action, which you probably should be doing every turn because it's a bonus action. You can either target whoever you're targeting with this help action can gain a temporary hit point bonus, or you can increase their walking speed and your walking speed. Or the final one, Spite, which I love the name. Until the start of your next turn, the first time you or the target of your help action hits a creature with an attack roll, that creature has disadvantage on the next attack roll.
Nice.
That's very strong.
That's cool.
I feel like you're probably going to be taking that pretty much every time you do the help action, because you're giving the player that you're targeting advantage, and then they would have disadvantage, the creature would, after they get hit.
I might use hospitality once or twice, but
yeah, I'd say, I mean, if it's
early levels,
especially early levels, yes, definitely, you can keep your squishy members alive.
Yep, that's double the health of some people at that level.
Yeah, the wizard, maybe even the cleric too.
Mm-hmm.
Fortune from the many is the last little race trait that these guys have. If you miss with an attack roll or fail an ability check or a saving throw, you can draw the bonds of reciprocity to gain a bonus. So the roll equals the number of allies you can see within 30 feet. Maximum of +5. You can use this trait a number of times, yada, yada. That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. That's very strong. I could see playing a hobgoblin paladin. Lots of kind of aura effects, staying close to your people, getting these already, with a lot of these auras, you're having a bonus to saving throws. Now you have even more of a saving throw bonus. It'd be badass.
The interesting thing with this is if I was playing in a smaller group, I would almost certainly have this and make either somebody in my party or myself a summoner type that has a summon, because the implication of this is in order to get that +5, you either have to have some NPCs with you,
sure,
or your DM has to take on DMing 6 people, which is on the harder side.
You just got to make sure the summoner is summoning things that are friendly to all of you.
Yes, because like summoning a demon or something wouldn't work.
A demon in front of everybody, yeah, it's not very friendly.
Most summons do indeed say, oh, they're friendly to you. They're good buddies. You want to school together. Stuff like that. I like these guys a lot. I'm a fan.
Would you say...
I was trying to judge it. Yeah, go ahead.
Would you say if you charmed something, then it counted as your ally?
Yeah. It's friendly towards you.
Yeah.
They might need to reword it. This doesn't say is friendly towards you, right? But I would say allies and friendly is the same thing.
Sure.
Maybe.
I'm down with that.
I don't know, something. But, that's a thing that they'll probably tweet about at some point. Somebody's going to say, hey, Jeremy Crawford, what constitutes an ally? Use your best judgment. Or
Jeremy, I wish
if they're friends.
He gets money every time he tweets something.
Probably. If they have
a lot of questions.
Well, if you think about it, his account could be a business one or it's a person. It just depends on what they do and what they get from Twitter. I don't know how payment works for that. It's a well-guarded secret amongst people that don't get paid off of Twitter. So I don't know. And I was trying to judge this by, how many of these abilities scale, but then I realized pretty much none of the classes have abilities that scale. Like Hellish Rebuke for Tieflings
it's all
maintains
class
3d10. Yeah. For the longest time, we did not know that for our Hellish Rebuke. And I was, destroying people with that trait from my Tiefling. And then I was like, okay. I took a step back when they said it, and I wasn't arguing. It's like, this makes sense.
I said, this is a bunch of bullshit.
It was pretty bullshit. You know, it's not bullshit. Owls, man. I love owls. They're cool. They're freaky. You like owl folk? If they carry that freaky coolness, I don't know. Owl bears are nice. If you like owl bears, I think there is one in Rime of the Frost Maiden.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Or something like that. So next up, we got owl folks, distant kin of giant owls. They come in many shapes and sizes, from petite and fluffy to wide-winged and majestic, and also horrifically scary, because if you see those black beady eyes looking at you, you have an omen on your way. They have arms and legs, of course, like other humanoids, as well as wings that come from their backs and shoulders.
They're
do have an ancestral
fly,
time.
aren't they?
They want more things that have fly, which is interesting because it's hard if you do theater of the mind, being able to have that Z-axis or Y-axis?
Yeah. Why?
Y-axis.
But this thing
makes things a lot more difficult.
This thing doesn't technically have flight. It has a cousin of flight.
It's a cousin of flight, yeah. And I would argue it's because they're bigger, it's a bit more tough. Do arrow croakers just have flight?
Yes.
Okay. I think their arms are wings, aren't they? I don't know. He's looking it up. I'm going to keep talking while he looks that up. So you've got the following racial traits. You are a humanoid. There's no Fey involved into this, but you're a humanoid. Size, medium, or small. Choose the size when you gain this race. Speed is 30 feet, and you do have dark vision, but hold on. 90 feet. Take that.
Yeah,
60 feet
that's a weird addition, isn't it? 10 extra feet.
Yeah, but they're owls, right?
Just give them 100. Just give them 120.
No, that's 30 extra feet of dark vision.
I can't do math.
Yeah, 60 to 30. It's fine. It's fine.
But for video watchers, you saw me make a crazy face. I didn't realize Aarakocra have a 50 flight speed.
What's their anatomy? Like with those wings?
It's just big wings on the back.
Interesting. I wonder why the owl. I mean, maybe owls aren't the best at flying. I don't know.
It's a fast flight speed.
At first
level, oh my god.
Yeah. What else you get? You get magic sight. Your keen senses to focus, and they allow you to see magic and the presence of such. You gain the ability to cast the detect magic spell, but only as a ritual, so it takes some time. Spellcasting ability is your choice. Interesting new addition. You get to pick intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. You can also cast the spell normally with any spell slots you might have. Nimble flight. There's this flight light thing that Ryan was mentioning. Your wings give you a flying speed equal to your walking, so 30 feet. When you fall, you can use your reaction, if you have it, to make a dex saving throw of DC 10 to stop falling and fly in place until the start of your next turn.
I'm sorry, it took me a second to kind of process what you said there. Why does it matter what spellcasting ability I cast detect magic for?
Flavor?
It doesn't do anything.
Well, maybe they're going to add some stuff that do have spells that need that clarification, and they have it here for consistency.
But it's just detect magic. Like, for those of you who don't know, detect magic, for the duration, which is 10 minutes, you can sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of you. If you sense any magic, you use your action to see what type of school of magic it is. You can penetrate through barriers. That's it.
Well, you still have to cast it through something. I like that they address it. It doesn't matter.
Well, it doesn't matter, but you can cast it through whatever. You can cast it, but the using charisma, intelligence, blank doesn't take any effect on this.
I mean, with how magic works in D&D, it has to come through something. Doesn't matter, they're wasting ink on this. Printing it. They're wasting ink if it ever comes somewhere. But yeah, you have to.
I could be misunderstanding. Someone comment, send us a tweet, hop on our Discord if I'm misunderstanding this portion, because it's definitely a possibility.
Send Ryan mail in the physical mail.
Jeremy Crawford, come at me. Tell me why you did this.
Can we go back to nimble flight and how dumb I think it is, though?
Yeah.
Why are they so limited in flight? What was the reasoning to not give them flight?
Maybe because
instead of this,
they're doing the opposite of what we said, and they don't like flight, and they're like, oh my god, we can't have too much flight going on in our games.
I guess, but I don't know,
you
man.
could have given these guys like 10-foot flight speed. You know, owls aren't super. Well, actually, owls are pretty quick, but
they're quick. But typically, when they hunt, they perch somewhere and then dive and go back and stand.
So that's where this came from.
Kind of works. Maybe they're not, the best of the aerodynamic bird races. I don't know. But this is just weird. You have to have your reaction, which most often you do. And you need to make a dex save throw, which weirdly forces owl folk to maybe need a better dex stat just to make use of this. DC 10 is not hard. It's unless you have a minus dex score, that's a 50-50 chance math to, save, right?
Yeah.
But
I feel like you got these big ass wings for nothing though.
Yeah. And how often are you falling? And when you have to have your if you're falling down a massive pit, you use your reaction to float until your next turn, at which you start falling again and have to make another save. What? You hover in place. You are still going to fall, and you have to make enough saves.
Like a, what's the spell that you cast it upon yourself and you slowly fall down? Yeah, Featherfall. This should be like a Featherfall kind of thing.
It should just be Featherfall. It's because in game, if you use this when you're falling down a pit, your DM is probably going to have to look up falling speed rules, figure that out, because not many DMs have had to use that. So they're likely going to have to break open the rule book, and this is going to stop the flow of play a lot, just like it stops you for a second in the air, at which you start falling again, and you're going to have to calculate the distance. Your DM's going to have to shit out a number of how far it is and figure that out. What? This thing's weird. I like that they can do it. Just make it Featherfall.
It's an alpha.
It's an alpha. It's whatever pre-alpha is. I don't know. Silent Feathers. You have proficiency in the stealth skill. That is a tongue twister. You have proficiency in the stealth skill.
Cute.
All right.
Yeah, owls are pretty quiet, I guess.
Yeah. Nimble flight's so weird, man. Even the name doesn't really fit. This isn't flight. It's controlled falling. As Buzz Lightyear said. I don't know.
No,
fall with style.
That's what Buzz Lightyear said.
But just imagine, visually picture an owl folk falling in the air. It falls for 6 seconds and goes, does a really strong flap, and then falls again. This is controlled falling. It's not nimble flight.
Before we get hate mail, by the way, we were both wrong. It's actually Woody who says that to Buzz.
Did you just look that up?
No, I remember the scene.
Thank you. Okay, well, we're almost done here. We're getting there. There's one last one for a very particular group of people.
And this one is a problem for a very particular group of people as well. This is the rabbit folk. So if you ever wanted to be a big-ass, cotton-tailed, bunny-eyed, eared creature, now you can be. These are humanoids. Cute. You are medium or you're small. You can choose. Like I says, you choose this size when you gain this race.
Why can't the fairies be small?
They are small.
Okay, I'm sorry.
They're not tiny.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. I'm gonna hide.
Your walking speed is 30 feet. Standard stuff so far. Nothing out of left field. Hair trigger. You add your proficiency bonus to your initiative rolls. Holy mother of God. High levels, man. You got a big ass proficiency modifier. Maybe you have high dex already. Sense. Boom. You're always going first.
And you add awareness. What is it? What's the thing? Alert. Plus another 10 initiative. You are going first always. That's so cool. I love. It's strong as hell. But let's screw power creep. Do it. Let's make races cool. Make abilities like this so fun. You got strong legs. You go yeet into combat. I love it.
And
it's strong though.
Braxton, we talked about earlier, there's no real thing that grows with you as you level with a race. This one does.
Yep. Why not?
Leporine, I don't know, man. It's some scientific word probably for bunnies. You have proficiency on the perception skill. You have big eyes, can see lots of stuff.
These guys are so strong.
Lucky footwork. When you fail a dex save, you can use your reaction to roll a d4 and add it to the result, potentially turning the failure into a success. It's like some bardic inspiration, but smaller.
Yeah. Okay.
It's cool. Now, this is the one I don't know if I have a problem with, but this one can be a problem for my games if someone is using it. Rabbit hop. Once during each of your turns when you walk at least 5 feet, you can hop. You may have been confused on why there was no jumping speed for this thing currently. Well, here it is. Roll a d12 and move that many feet in a direction of your choice. This extra distance doesn't cost movement. You can hop only if your speed isn't 0.
There's so many problems with this right now.
Grid players gonna have a problem with this.
Yeah, who doesn't play in a grid? Who actually needs to move 6 feet? It doesn't, until you move, every spell is within 5, it ends in a 5 or it ends in a 0.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you move with this ability 6 feet or 5 feet. There's no difference until you get to 10.
So you can always hop.
Can they just make this?
Unless you're restrained or grappled, you can't move.
Yeah. Can they just make this, and this might be too restrictive, roll a d12. If you get a 5 or above, you can move 5 feet. If you get a 10 or above, you can move 10 feet. But until you roll the 5, it's a 0 feet. And until you roll the 10, it's 5 feet. Because there's no point in moving 7 feet, 8 feet, 9 feet. Because until you get that next distance, it's not going to get you out of the range of an attack, a spell that can reach until you get that extra grid.
Right.
I'm so confused.
I guess you're supposed to round with this? I don't know.
Can they just make it a coin flip? And if it's heads, it's 5 feet?
I'd rather them say you can jump 25 feet or something. There are monsters and creatures that have jump movements. So why can't we just give that? I mean, technically, I think it's usually in their action or in something, but why can't we give that to one of these guys?
Let's do this, okay?
Or if you move 10 feet, then you can jump 30 feet in the air or something. I don't know.
Aarakocra have 50 feet of movement, right?
A flight, yeah. 25 feet on the ground.
Why not just give them an extra 10 feet of movement in the form of this feature? They have a walking speed of 30 feet and can jump an additional 10 feet.
And then that can be up in the air, or it can be, sideways.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking about it from like
walking to do it.
Like a bull or like a minotaur monster. It's a lot of the times they have abilities that say if they move 25 feet in a turn or something, then they can like gore something, or they can, slam and push something farther. I could see something similar with this. You move 10 feet, then you can jump 25 feet.
I have the same problem with this as I did with Nimble Flight, is that it doesn't fit within the system of D&D. So this could be extremely, extremely nitpicky, like Magic the Gathering, reading the syntax to figure out what's working on. Because say you've got a spell that's an AoE, and or there's like a canyon, and you need to land on a small island, right?
Yeah.
A small 5x5 space, and you jump. You need to land exactly 10 feet to get into it. So you need to hit a 10 to do it. You land in 11 and you go too far. You go 11 feet and you're 1 foot over and you don't make it. Are we going to nitpick that much on it?
I would say change this. During the game, I'm sure there's always people who lean on the rule of cool, say, sure, yeah, you can do that. But logistically, I guess this needs
to change.
Rules as written, as they say, raw. Yeah, I guess you probably couldn't.
This is insane. Oh my God. I know this is probably, let's just do it, but I don't know why they decided to go with a D12. It's like trying to take seconds and adding I don't know. It's so weird.
Like they're reaching for this rabbit stuff, and this one was a miss.
Just say rabbit hop. Once during your turn, you can jump 10 feet in any direction.
You know what they should do? Hire us.
Yeah.
I'll play test for you. We actually have, I don't know if I ever told you guys this. We actually have play tested in our game before. When Kobold Press was releasing some of the Creature Codex stuff and Tome of the Beasts, if you kickstart it, there was an option to say if you want to help them balance stuff. And I can't remember which creature it was anymore, but I said, yeah, I can play test. And they sent us out a bunch of stuff, and I would thumb through it and find ones that worked for our game. and I'd find a creature that worked for us, and we did it one time, and I sent him some feedback. I don't think it changed, but it was fun.
Huh? I didn't know that. That's fun. Hire us. We are QA testers for D&D. It's my eventual goal. Now I'm trying to think of my career path to get into either the video game industry or to Dungeons and Dragons. I would love to be a talent acquisition person for like D&D Beyond or Wizards of the Coast.
That's like that. You could do it for like a third party company, Kobold Press, something like that.
Exactly. That's my goal. I'm on the job search again. I'm trying to figure
if anybody's listening,
they need somebody, get me in there. I've got 2+ years of talent acquisition and full desk recruiting experience. Get me in there.
Hire this man.
Let's go.
Let's.
But yeah, man. Go.
Nice. Serena, let's go. Let's get the hell out of here.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised we managed to get as much into this as we did. And it was I had a good time. Had a good time, If you want to waffle with us, maybe on social media, that would be at Dungeon Crawl Pod on Instagram, which just kind of has a little bit of clips and whatnot. It sits there. If you want to look there, we might make something out of it. But we prefer Twitter. We're trying to be better at that. We're going to announce when we've got episodes going on. Any resources that we use, we're going to tweet them out day of, so we can try to make you guys have that.
I realized I misspoke. I forgot last week we didn't do Ravenloft. Last week was RP episode.
Yes, it was. So you can stop now, or you can tweet us and say Ryan's such an idiot.
Yeah, I made a couple mistakes this episode. I wouldn't be surprised if I made some reading mistake and ranted for 10 minutes on something that didn't actually matter.
So now you know where to go. But if you really want to type something long, instead of using that twit longer, you can email us at thedungeoncrawlpod@gmail.com for business inquiries or hate mail. Whatever you want to do there. We do have a Discord if you want to instant message us and be like, Ryan, you're dumb. And Ryan can be like, no. And you'd be like, yeah, you're dumb for this reason. Emoji.
They'll ban you from the Discord.
Ban you from the Discord.
I'm a god. Yeah.
You can also talk about a bunch of other things. We've got channels for like IRL stuff, cooking and whatnot. You got Anime Watch Week on Sundays, which isn't happening this week because everybody's gone. But if you want to join that, we watch a lot of fun stuff that's airing during the week, And that's it. That's all I've got, except for the fact that we have a YouTube as well. Search the Dungeon Crawl Podcast on YouTube. You can find the video format of all this if you are watching in audio only right now. I'm done. That's it.
Is it?
That's it for me. What do you got? What do you bring to the table, man?
Here comes Peter Cottontail hopping down the podcast trail. Hippity hoppity, go to Apple Podcasts. There you'll find the Dungeon Crawl. Rate us 5 stars on the website and leave a nice review for all of us.
I look so tired just by hearing that. I just aged like 10 years.
Hey, man.
Oh, my God.
I come up with a new one of these each week. Some of them hit, some of them don't.
That's right, guys. This is our announcement. Ryan now has a SoundCloud. Find that track that we just released on our SoundCloud at Ryan on SoundCloud.com.
I could be a SoundCloud rapper. I get the hairstyle for it.
Do you? I don't know about that one.
Hey, what's up? This is Ryan with a new episode. Let me rap for you here.
Pretty good.
All right, if everybody hasn't left at this point, as you heard at the beginning of this episode, most likely, we do have the Dungeon Chronicles, our actual play stuff that's going on. The 22nd.
Yeah, what's going on the 22nd? Braxton?
That's the live play that we're going to be having probably at 6 p.m. for the Dungeon Chronicles The Dawning at twitch.tv/Molassior.
Wait, but I'm confused, Braxton. Doesn't that come out on Thursdays? What do we have? What are we doing on a Monday?
Oh, what do you mean? Monday? Yeah, I know. We're streaming live.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we're streaming live.
Yeah,
we're live streaming.
Live streaming the podcast. So if you want to come and watch the live Dungeon Chronicles that go to March 22nd, twitch.tv/Melassier. Do we have a time yet for that?
Probably 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Go subscribe. Go follow that Twitch channel. And then eventually, if you want to go ahead and be ahead of the ball game, go to twitch.tv/the Dungeon Crawl Network.
You had to think about it for a second.
Because some of our handles have V, some don't. The Dungeon Crawl Network. Eventually, we're going to be moving everything over to that Dungeon Crawl related. I just got to get it up and running for a minute, get things going. So go ahead and hit the follow button on that.
Yes,
Twitch.
the VOD won't be on the Twitch. It'll be produced, edited, and fixed up on that Thursday.
Yes.
So there you go. If you were interested. That's all. If you want to pay us to say your ads in this very professional, structured format where we forget things, and I think that's some of the charm, we can do it. Come here. If you have another D&D thing that you want to shout out, let's get a sponsorship going. Let's do it. I don't know, man. We need money. I'm just kidding. We do this for fun.
Thanks. Right.
As always.
But Braxton could
Calling
use the
with
money.
us, everybody.
He has jobless. Someone hire him, please. He's eating ramen
I'm eating ramen
from the trash can.
I don't even have any water. That was my last glass of water. There's no more.
So hit the 5-star button now. Braxton needs water.
Look, my skin is terrible. I've got, it's kind of gone now, but yeah, I had a skin condition earlier. I can't take care of it. My children.
Last week it was
shirtless. I don't
shirtless.
have any children. Yeah, that's why I wasn't on the video, because I couldn't wear a shirt. As always, like I mentioned a second ago, thanks for crawling with us, guys. It's the year of the dungeon.
You know what we're doing next week, Braxton? Because I do.
Wait, what? What are we doing? Oh, yeah.
Candlekeep Mysteries, baby. If you're listening to this episode on the day it comes out at 7 a.m., then stop what you're doing. Just get off of your Zoom call with your leader of your team at work and head over to your local game store and pick up Candlekeep Mysteries.
I'll write that on my resume. Has been leader of team at work. Yeah, that'll be fun. We'll probably have Kenneth there too.
Ideally, we'll be covering it next week. Obviously, things could go wrong. Maybe we won't get the book for some reason. We'll see.
How is Braxton going to buy it? He doesn't have any money. I got to
hit the 5-star button and he'll have money.
Hit it. Take care, guys. See you next week.
Peace.